Welcome to the Nation Diplomatic Dispatch, your window into the world of diplomacy and international affairs. Malaysia and the Netherlands share a long-standing relationship built on mutual trust, trade, and cooperation. As one of Malaysia's key partners, the Netherlands has played a significant role in trade, innovation, and sustainability, with deep-rooted ties spanning economic, environmental, and cultural collaborations. As both countries look toward a future of sustainable growth, resilient water management, and technological advancement, there is much to discuss. Today, we explore this trusted friendship with His Excellency Jacques Werner, Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to Malaysia. We'll discuss the depth of Malaysia-Netherlands ties, ongoing collaborations, and the future of this diplomatic relationship. Ambassador Werner, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us today. Allow me to get right into it. Now, the Netherlands is one of Malaysia's top trading partners in Europe, with a robust exchange of goods and services. I was reading some recent numbers. It's approximately 40 billion plus ringgit. Now, how would you describe the current state of trade relations between Malaysia and the Netherlands? And more importantly, what's driving this momentum?
Well, thank you very much for that question. As you said in your introduction, we go back a long way. We have a solid relationship also in trade already for centuries, actually. But if you were to ask for the state of today, I would say we're in good health. We're doing well. We are exchanging a lot between us. The Netherlands is one of the biggest European trading partners of Malaysia. And we are among the top 5 of foreign investors already for a number of years. So I think we're doing well. And my personal forecast would be we can do even better. Particularly, I'm thinking of, for instance, the free trade agreement that we, in the context of the European Union, intend to negotiate now shortly with Malaysia. I'm very happy that that decision has been made recently, and that we're going to embark on that journey together, and that will grow even more trade, will facilitate even more foreign direct investment. And I think that will be good for the both of us. And I also think that will have a special political significance in these days where open trade is not necessarily the song of the day, so to say. So I think Malaysia and the European Union can show that a good free trade agreement is good for not only ourselves but for the world at large. Malaysia and the Netherlands, we have a similar outlook, I think. We consider ourselves the gateway into Europe. Malaysia is, for us and for everybody, the gateway into ASEAN. And I think that means that we have a good positions to work on this even better and growing relationship.
And speaking of that gateway, Ambassador, I think that's a very nice way to phrase it. Dutch companies like Philips and Friesland-Campina. I was also reading there is a semiconductor company that's been based in Malaysia since the 1960s, have had a strong footprint here. Now, could you highlight the major industries where Dutch businesses are investing in Malaysia, or what is the new interest, if you could call it that today?
Well, you start with basically the food and agro sector. Friesland-Campina, which is Dutch lady, actually. This is possibly a name familiar to many Malaysians.
Very much so.
Is a big investor already for a long time in Malaysia, and a household name in many Malaysian families, as it was actually in our own, in the Netherlands as well. We have in that corner, in that sector, we also have Enzo Zaden, which is a seed company which has invested a long time ago in Malaysia as well to develop seeds, which obviously are important to growing vegetables and crops and everything. A familiar name should also be Heineken in alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, covering parts of Asia from here. By the way, they do a good work also on water conservation and other corporate social responsibility issues. So these are good companies in that sector, but you mentioned rightly also semicon. That's definitely a booming relationship that we have in the semiconductor industry with names like BC, like NXP, Nexperia, and many more, New Ways, a newcomer. So there are more Dutch companies in the pipeline, so to say, to develop their operations in Malaysia in the semicon industry.
So earlier you mentioned the water industry, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And more recently, in November last year, there was the Malaysia-Netherlands Water Dialogue,
Yes.
where Malaysia's Deputy Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Fadillah Yusof, highlighted how climate change is threatening our water infrastructure.
Yeah.
The Netherlands, of course, with its world-renowned expertise in water management, is a natural partner. In your view, what's the single most urgent water-related challenge that Malaysia faces today?
I think there is obviously what we hear about Malaysia most when it is about the water issues, it is the floods. The floods are becoming more and more severe. They will be coming back as well. And I'm very happy to say that through this yearly water dialogue and through other initiatives that we are working on, our water story, our joint water story, our water partnership between the Netherlands and Malaysia is growing and growing. It's getting a better story altogether. We are not only working on a memorandum of understanding between the Netherlands and Malaysia, the Petra Ministry, obviously, DPM Fadilah's shop. We are also starting some pilot projects in the area of water and flood management, with the purpose to mitigate floods and also to try to prevent them in future.
Yeah.
Now, all floods cannot be prevented. It's not a matter of increasing your dam or your dike and feel safe. Climate change is now so heavily among us that we must guard ourselves in a more creative way also, and that's why we are developing the idea of working with nature.
You just saw a moment ago on screen the images of flooding that happens throughout the country.
No.
And you point out a very interesting point. It's not just about the technology or the engineering, right? I think there's also an element of culture and the people. Now, what is it about Dutch culture in relation to water management or the acceptance of climate change being something that could threaten our existence that has been ingrained? And you know, in your time, you've been an ambassador, Foreign Service, for over 4 decades now. How would you juxtapose those observations with what you've seen?
We have reclaimed land already for centuries in the Netherlands. We are a low-lying delta country with the North Sea on our border and on our coast, and with 3 big rivers flowing into our delta. So we need to keep our feet dry. And for instance, my house, literally, my house in the Netherlands, you won't believe it. It was built in 1865 in The Hague. It's 2 meters below sea level, but it's been there all the time,
since
dry. Yes, so that's fantastic. And but we needed in later years, in more recent years, we needed a big flood crisis to really develop our water technology. That was in the 1950s, and since then we built up a very elaborate system of dikes and dams and protection and barriers and everything that now indeed we share with many countries in the world, and that's very important. So we are very happy to engage also with Malaysia to share our experiences and knowledge and see what is needed here. Obviously, it's a different country, different circumstances, different soil, different mountains. We don't have mountains. Different conditions, and we can learn a lot from each other here. But we're very much ready to help out. Only last week, we had a small mission of Dutch water experts visiting KL, Selangor, and Sarawak.
This includes a meeting you had with the Chief Minister of Selangor.
Correct.
I believe, yes.
Correct. And that is all about devising the best solutions to the various problems in the catchment areas that there are in Malaysia, and that's what we enjoy doing. And it's definitely a matter of dikes and building dikes and dams and what have you. So there's a lot of engineering about this, but there's more than that. It's also working with nature, giving room to the river, and basically integrating all the interests that there are in a certain area, catchment area. Also industrial, also residential, also tourism and leisure, and also nature, and also agro industry. so food production.
Right.
All these and more interest should come in a new governance model whereby every stakeholder has its say to come up with a consensual approach for this bigger integrated problem, and not only in the low-lying area, also higher up the river, so to say, because what you do high up in the river will have its effects down, obviously down in the delta.
I like that. I like because the idea of having interconnected intricacies and different stakeholders. Yes. I think our Prime Minister, that's Sri Anwar Ibrahim, often speaks about a whole of government approach, but a whole of government, whole of society approach becomes very important.
Well, you got it completely right.
And that takes me, I think, very nicely onto the question on ASEAN. You know, this year Malaysia is ASEAN chair, and it's a very important moment for the regional leadership. Of course, the Netherlands, as an EU member with strong ties to Southeast Asia, has a unique perspective. I've spoken to a number of leaders from Europe about the Indo-Pacific strategy, for example. So, in your view, how does the Netherlands view Malaysia's role within ASEAN? And where do you see opportunities for us to deepen our regional integration, whether through trade, we spoke about sustainability, or diplomacy?
Well, definitely, and to start with the water story, so to say, we're very happy to see if we can translate our water story also in an ASEAN-wide interaction. Actually, we have now, since last year, we have formalized between the Netherlands and ASEAN what they call a development partnership. So we're now officially development partners of ASEAN, and we are now making a short list of areas where we can be of use to each other. And obviously water flood mitigation is one of them, as is semicon, and maybe some other areas, perhaps food security and things related to food security, food innovation, innovative ideas on food, circularity. That's right. In these sectors is also something that we would love to share and explore together on how we can move forward. So we have high hopes, to be honest, for the Malaysian ASEAN chairmanship, and not only in matters that directly relate to us ourselves, but rather also for the region. Myanmar, the South China Sea, obviously are big political dossiers for Malaysia to handle and make progress on, and I wish them lots of success in achieving results there. It's going to be tough, but hopefully Malaysia can manage. The Malaysia and ASEAN and the European Union, again, also in this uncertain times, I think we should really hold each other's hand a little bit more firmly and see what we can do, block to block, individually, to make our multilateral system, our multipolarity, stronger, more effective, so that we can also counterbalance disturbing forces in the geopolitical arena these days. These are tough times. Yeah.
Speaking of which, talking about multipolarity, you know, there's a lot of discussion about the world becoming unipolar or mono in that regard, and with the tensions that we see, including in Europe and the US, which will have repercussions on Malaysia and Southeast Asia. From the discussions that you have had with the government, what's the position that the Netherlands or the EU is taking with regards to what we see happening around us?
Well, as you will have seen, it's every day is a day full of surprises.
That's right.
It's very much a moving target. It's but we are. I think we're all struggling a little bit with this on all sides of the oceans, so to say. Also here in Asia, and how to assess what is actually going on. But we know it's going to be a bit rougher. The transatlantic partnership obviously is a bit under stress. We have issues in Europe with Russia and Ukraine. We've seen the Middle East blow up in a terrible manner, to be honest. And we see so far China in Asia responding very carefully, moderately, not escalating tensions. And I see a big role again for ASEAN to sort of moderation and on the one hand, but also to reach out in the frame of multipolarity, also to the European Union, and also the European Union should step up and live up to the expectations that there are.
Yeah.
And we have some homework to do there, to be honest.
Yeah, like you said, I like that how you use that we need to hold our hands tighter.
Yes.
Ambassador, you've been in diplomacy, like I mentioned earlier, for 40 years. You ambassador to Tehran, Singapore, Brunei. You're no stranger to the region. Maybe in your personal opinion, having seen the diplomatic landscape evolve over the last 40 years, what are the sort of key values that you believe would be more important in today's day and age than ever before?
I think clinging on to what we have is one element, and I mean the international legal order and the multilateral system.
Right.
These are institutions that we built up together partly after the Second World War, and that we have invested in deeply. We should not throw away these old shoes. They're not even old shoes. They're good shoes. They still fit.
Yeah, that's right.
We shouldn't throw them away. We should keep on investing in them. At the same time, we realize that things are changing, and we cannot keep on repeating what we've already been doing all the time. So we should be open also to new ideas and new partnerships, and that's why I say we should hold each other's hand a little bit more firmly than in the past, because relationships matter. And I think what we should learn to do a bit better is to understand how relationships work here in Asia.
Yeah.
Personal relationships, business relationships, government to government relationships, etc. They're very important to invest in, to acknowledge each other respectfully. Madani.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
That's very important, and I think we should really engage more in that sense.
Yeah. No, thanks for that. And it's like when they say that as the world gets smaller, distances can grow, and it's like you said. I think it's a constant effort that one needs to remind us.
Right.
And this takes me nicely to, I'd like to ask a little bit about education, cultural exchange, and tourism, because beyond economics and trade and high-level diplomacy, people-to-people ties are very important.
Yes.
In Malaysia, we have this saying called "tak kenal maka tak cinta," which is if you do not know someone, how do you love them? And post-pandemic, if I may ask, then how has tourism between Malaysia and the Netherlands evolved? I had the opportunity to visit Keukenhof about a decade ago. It's beautiful. Good. And do you think we will see more of these exchanges happening?
Well, I definitely hope so. I see it's picking up again. Tourism has reached good levels again, I think both ways, although I don't have the quantification, the quantities exactly, but it's picking up. I think there's a lot of interest and respect for this part of the world from Europe and from the Netherlands. We really enjoy the culture, the people here, the food, and everything Malaysia has to offer in nature and what have you. It's a perfect place. We'd love to holiday here.
Yeah. What's your favorite food, if I may ask?
Well, that's a challenging question in a way, but I love all the food, practically all the food.
Very diplomatic.
But to keep it simple, I often start my weekend with a nasi lemak somewhere, and then take a little Chinese and then Indian the next day. Yeah, definitely.
I like that. Very fair. Very
I can't. It's difficult to choose. It's also good.
And you've also been, like I said, Singapore, Brunei, so you've got all of that exposure.
Yeah, we've tested and tried and tested. Yeah, but I love it. Yeah.
Lovely. And one of the areas that's of very of importance is really culture and arts.
Yeah.
Van Gogh, Rembrandt, modern design.
Yes.
Fun fact, I was actually born on the same day as Van Gogh.
You did?
Yes. So, and belated happy birthday to you as well, a couple of days ago, I believe.
Thank you. Yeah.
How does the embassy bring Dutch culture to Malaysia, and what are some of the things that you have done to kind of closen these cultural ties?
Well, the basis usually is history and heritage, and we have a little Dutch heritage in particularly Malacca.
Yes, of course.
Where you have the Stadhuis and other signs of, let's say, former Dutch presence in that part. And we're building on that. We are rejuvenating there the museum as well. The Dutch part of the museum is going to be rejuvenated. So that's good. We have some more contemporary exchanges, not enough to my taste. I would love to do more, but budgets obviously are limited for this. Right. But we have a cooperation in the area of classical music, for instance, with an organization in Penang, And we had a Dutch DJ for younger, let's say a younger generation.
What's his name? I may or may not know this.
No, she's a lady actually.
Oh, it's a lady, sorry.
And she was here. Is not one of the Armin you were working. No, but wonderful to engage the youth as well. And we're looking forward to have a jazz singer fairly soon from the Netherlands here as well. So we're trying our best with limited means, and I agree with you. It's going to be more about people to people and getting to know people, so that you know who your friends are and how you can make friends around the world. Yeah, it's going to be more important in the coming time.
I would love to ask you about education, because that's an area that's close to my heart. And the Netherlands has got top universities like Delft, Wageningen, and Groningen.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, sorry, I might not be pronouncing it correctly. So what efforts have been put in place recently? Because Malaysia, we also are trying to attract international students here for mobility programs.
Yeah. Well, there have actually been quite many Malaysians, and I would love to get in touch with them, who studied at these Dutch universities that you mentioned. Love to do more about an alumni network and come closer to each other in that sense. 2 days ago, I had a talk with a Dutch organization that is going to organize a summer courses for the sector that is now the most hot and happening, which is the semicon sector. Right. So we're going to organize for ASEAN young entrepreneur students. We're going to organize summer courses here in Malaysia for ASEAN students. So there you have it. I think it's important that we together see what we can do about the talent crunch. There is a talent crunch in a number of sectors in Malaysia, and we'd love to try to help out. And in the semicon sector, which is probably the most topical in our relationship as we speak, we are also trying to connect the Dutch ecosystem of semicon, which is actually in the south of Holland, in the Eindhoven area, where ASML has its head office, to connect with the Malaysian semicon sector, also through the Malaysian Semiconductor Industries Association, MSIA, who's been recently to the Netherlands to have a look and see what we can do in terms of connecting the two ecosystems.
Of course, what ASML is doing is looked up by all segments of the world, because it's such sophisticated machinery and will play such a key role.
It's a big hit. Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, but around it is a fantastic ecosystem of research and innovation companies, startups, and what have you. And that sort of model we'd like to connect also with Malaysia, I think, for the benefit of both of us.
Right. Ambassador, we've got just about a minute left. So if I may ask you, as we wrap up, as we look to the horizon, Malaysia and Netherlands, you've spoken about the foundation that we've built. Where do you hope this partnership takes us, say, by 2030 and beyond?
I really hope that what we're doing on the water cooperation now will really have resulted in something big and important, not only for the two of us, so to say, but for the region and for the world. And I am confident that we can make steps there. On semicon also, we can have these ecosystems better connected than today. I think in food security, there's more to be had than we are now doing. Also innovation in agriculture, there are better options that we can pursue. And finally, I hope we stand shoulder to shoulder in protecting what we have in these turbulent times in terms of the international legal order, multilateral system, and connecting our two regional blocks, EU and ASEAN, closer together. If we could make steps there, I would deem it a success.
Ambassador, thank you very much for that. Our conversation today has highlighted the strong and enduring partnership between Malaysia and the Netherlands, one built on trade, innovation, sustainability, and mutual trust. As you have heard from the Ambassador, a wide-ranging discussion, and as both nations continue to collaborate on key global challenges, from climate resilience to technological advancements, and the future of this friendship remains very promising. I'm Daniel Rahman. Thank you for watching today's episode of Diplomatic Dispatch, and we'll see you next time, where diplomacy meets dialogue. Take care.